Hello everyone, this is Flip Taco here on PS3 Gaming Blog, providing you guys a video review on Medal of Honor. Now, Medal of Honor storyline-wise, he plays two different characters. One character you play as Rabbit, who is part of a Tier 1 operator group, and another character you play a part of a Ranger team sent in to help back them up in Afghanistan. Now, the storyline-wise, the story is pretty good so far with its cutscenes and great voice work that'll help, keep you in the mood and atmosphere. But overall, it won't, like fly away you to the moon, but it's definitely a good ride to go on. Now, for the gameplay on the single player, it is fun and exciting. Definitely, some of the gameplay elements in this game is definitely good to go on, but it's kind of similar to the other games that you've played before, including, for example, Call of Duty. Now, the campaign, it is short, sadly, only a matter of a few hours to beat the campaign, unless you play it on the harder difficulty. Now, there are different wider range of weapons to use, and there has been definitely some epic moments in the campaign where you think that you will probably glow out in a blaze of glory. Now, in the single-player campaign as well, your teammates will be helping you out, completing the missions, occasionally taking out the bad guy, and giving you some much-needed ammo. Though, sadly, for the single-player-wise, there have been some bugs and glitches that I have noticed. Also, to note, the single-player is run on the Unreal 3 engine, and now we head off to the multiplayer side. Multiplayer is made by DICE, also known as the makers of the Battlefield series. Now, the multiplayer runs on their Frostbite engine, and overall, it is a fun game. It is fun to play. It's definitely a fun experience and competitive. But there are some gameplay differences between the single and multiplayer. Primarily, you cannot go prone in the multiplayer like you can in the single player. Now, one of the sad parts about the multiplayer is too that there are very few maps to play. If there's not a lot of map variety, and even though you have the online pass to download future content, the content you have now is just simply not enough. Even though there is a level system and an unlock system that you can do each time you level up, you gain extra goodies for your class, including some weapon attachments and skins to use. Now, there are some different modes to play, including Team Assault, which is your standard team deathmatch, also other attack and defense scenarios, and including a hardcore game mode. Now, one thing I have to note about the multiplayer is that sometimes it's hard to know who's enemy and who's a friend, especially in how the map is set up as well, because sometimes you'd be shooting what you think would be an enemy, but it's really a rock. And other times, you thought that was a buddy of yours, but it turned out to be an enemy and you get shot dead. Definitely, they could have worked on this a bit more. Now, for the graphics and sound-wise, soundtrack to the game is top-notch. Definitely, the soundtrack gives a very good moment, of just helping you get into the atmosphere of the game. Now, also, the voice work is good for the single player as well. The characters do show somewhat of a human side, especially near the end, but overall, it's good to go. Now, graphics, the single player is excellent in the graphics department, showing off the Unreal 3 engine and all its glory still. While the multiplayer side of the graphics, it's not as good as the single player, since it's using the Frostbite engine made by DICE, but still they could have made it a bit better looking. Overall, it's definitely a good game to reboot the series of what it's been known for, World War II. The single player is fun, yet short, with its own mess of glitches and bugs that I have encountered. While the multiplayer is fun in its own right, it's simply not as good, and the limited content of maps, it just doesn't work sometimes, Sometimes you'll find yourself getting bored of the multiplayer and just wanting to play the single-player campaign. Now, overall, even though with the game's highs and lows, I'm definitely giving this game a solid B-. Even though the game has definitely some great moments for the single player and some for the multiplayer, it just still, comparing it with other games out there and the content-wise, it just doesn't work. But definitely it is a good reboot to go on for a start. This is Flip Taco here on the PS3 Gaming Blog with your video review on Medal of Honor.